Hi everyone, I'm Diana Palm from dianapalm.com, and we've got a really special video for you to watch today. We're going to be discussing what happens to your spirit when you die in suicide. I get asked this question all the time because I'm a medium and a spiritual healer, and many of my clients actually come to me after they have lost a loved one. And unfortunately, more and more of those deaths have become suicides. Now, it's really important, if you don't already know, the staggering numbers, but the World Health Organization is saying that right now about 1 million people die a year throughout the world in suicide. But they're expecting that to escalate by the year 2020, and that's right around the corner. So why is this going on? I don't know, but it seems to be an epidemic, and so many people of all different ages and races and sexual orientation are beginning to commit suicide in really, really high numbers. Please, if this is you and you're struggling with something really dark or heavy or seems overwhelming, please reach out for help. I'm going to be putting the suicide hotline or crisis number throughout this video so that you know there's a resource that you can reach out to. The number one thing we want to do is prevent any more suicides. But let me tell you why this is so important to me. I'm a medium, and I have been shown what happens to our spirit when we die from suicide. What I have been shown from spirits that die in suicide is that they actually do not leave their problems behind. Unfortunately, the problems that they are running from are about 100 times worse when they pass this way. Typically, when somebody dies, their spirit has about 9 days or so before they go into the light, which we call heaven, or they also have the choice to stay earthbound, and that's what we call a ghost. However, suicide deaths are a bit different. Whatever they were running from, their problem has now been magnified. And it actually appears so dark, there's no source of light. Their guardian angels can't get to them. Their loved ones can't come for them and pull them through the tunnel of light. So it's a really dark time. And I've even seen so many family and friends praying for people that have committed suicide, and their prayers are not reaching them. It's because the state that they're in when they committed suicide was so hopeless and so dark and so isolated that they really have brought that energy with them, and there's an inability to really connect with people sending them love, people sending them prayers, and they can't feel that energy. They can't feel the love that is being sent to them. If they were drunk or high when they committed suicide, they're still in that state too, so that can actually exacerbate the problem and prevent them from moving on as a spirit. They actually need somebody to come in and retrieve them. Now, we call this soul retrieval. So it's crossing over the spirit, but it's also retrieving their soul and pulling them out of this dark space. Sometimes there's other spiritual work that needs to happen in terms of sending healing to them directly. They may need to have some traumas removed, some other issues healed before their spirit's able to get into the light where they need to be. God does not deny anybody from coming to heaven. This decision is based on our own feeling, vibration, and thought forms. When there's been a suicide and I'm retrieving a soul from this place, I can tell you visually what it looks like, because there's no houses or buildings, there's no other people, there's no trees, there's no animals. It's literally like a mass of black, slow-moving blobs. The energy is very, very slow, very dark, and when I'm in there retrieving souls, I can actually feel the anguish and the shame and the sorrow and the hopelessness, and it's just somewhere that you wouldn't want a loved one to stay. When somebody has committed suicide and they go into this dark place, it is also affecting their family. As long as you have a family or a friend that's unhealed, it's actually keeping you in a state of grief. And also, because of the issue of suicide, a lot of times the living loved ones wonder, Was there something I was supposed to do? Could I have stopped this? Could I have been a better friend? Could I have been a better mother? And we go through these things thinking about what it is we could have done to prevent the suicide. First of all, I'd like you to know that if you have lost somebody to suicide, it is not your fault. And there is nothing that you could have done to prevent them from committing suicide. Most of the time, people have decided to do this long before they ever acted out. And if that's what they have decided to do, there's nothing you could have said or done to intervene. However, even knowing that, it doesn't prevent the living loved ones from going through that thought process and just always wondering. One of the things the living loved ones can do right now to bring healing and closure to the situation is to really be able to help their loved one who passed. Every time a soul has been retrieved from this place and sent back to heaven, there is tremendous healing, not just for the individual who committed suicide, but also for all the living loved ones. We're all psychically connected, and family members are connected through their DNA. So when one person has died in this traumatic state and has stayed in this dark space because of suicide, it's like sadness and a very, very heavy grief that comes over the entire family and all the loved ones, and it really doesn't heal. So if this has happened to you, even if it was 10 years or 20 years ago, but you're still feeling this heaviness, most likely your loved one has not gone to the light yet. They're not in heaven and they're not at peace. If you suspect that that is one of your loved ones and you would like to do something to help them now, this is a tremendous gift and so beneficial, not just to your loved one that passed, but like I said, to yourself and to all the living loved ones, family and friends. There are many spiritual healers that can do this type of work. What you're looking for is a medium that has special skills to retrieve and rescue souls. They should be adept at working with the spirit world, being able to see into the other realms, have some training and background on crossing over, and knowing how to work with demons and entities and attachments, because those energies often accompany the suicide death and linger with the individual after the suicide. So you're looking for a spiritual medium who is a rescue medium who can clear demons and entities. Ensuring that your loved one reaches heaven is the most amazing gift that you can do to help their soul heal and to be able to move on. And not only will you be putting them in the right place, but now they'll be able to come back and visit you and all their loved ones, because as a spirit, they can move in and out of heaven. They can come back and visit you. And most often what you actually get after crossing over a loved one is a visit from them right away when they're telling you thank you. So I've had this happen where they show up in my bedroom, or they'll be standing in my kitchen, or just send me a lot of signs, but they are always so grateful. And it's a really beautiful way to be able to help your loved one, especially if you feel like you weren't able to when they were living and you couldn't reach them. There are many spirit rescue mediums and spiritual healers that do work in this area. It's also something that I specialize in. So if you'd like to book a session with me, I'll put my website below. And if you're watching this video and you've had thoughts of suicide, or you just can't seem to get out of your depression, please seek spiritual healing, a counselor, or reach out to a crisis hotline for suicide and allow somebody to connect with you. Allow there to be help and support, because there's help and support out there. If you try one thing and it doesn't work, try something else. Spiritual healing can be very effective for depression and suicidal thoughts. Many times in our brains, we just really aren't wired to go through certain tragedies or traumas, and we don't have the neural pathways to create solutions or a new life path. And one of the things that I do for people in a spiritual healing session and through Theta Healing is recreate their subconscious belief system so that they can find solutions, so that they can change their perspective on things, and so that we can energetically and spiritually heal the issues in their life that have led them into depression. So rather than looking for some kind of pill to take to alleviate your depression, let's go back to the source and heal it there so that you can really, really have a healed heart and mind and live a really happy and functional life. If your loved one has committed suicide and you are having a really difficult time coping with your life and moving on, you may also be interested in my 9-week grief healing program. The first session, I go in and make sure your loved one is moved into the right space, moved into heaven, so that they can begin to heal. And that alone will alleviate a lot of your heaviness and suffering. Then I go into work specifically with you to heal your shock and trauma from the suicide and the impact that it has had on your life. We are able to go in spiritually and heal your heart and heal your soul and disconnect soul fragments that make you feel like you're dying because your loved one has passed. When you received enough healing and released enough grief inside your heart and lungs, we begin to rebuild your emotional system and put new feeling downloads in there for the abilities to move forward and the abilities to feel love and hopefulness in your heart again. And the knowledge that your life mattered and your loved one's life mattered, and that it's all coming together in divine time, and that your purpose may have been chiseled out and created because of the very tragic loss that you went through already. During that 9 weeks, I call you once a week to check in on you, make sure that you're doing healthy things to continue to move forward and that you have love and support while you're moving through this process. And we continue to work spiritually on any issues that are coming up so that I can energetically and spiritually heal you as you go through this process. So if that is of interest to you, go ahead and look at the link below for that as well. I'm limited to the amount of clients that I can take for the 9-week grief healing program. So if you're interested in that, please shoot me an email through my website at dianapalm.com, and I'll let you know if there's an availability to get you in. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much. And again, I just want to let you know that there really is hope and there really is help. Please reach out.